Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the FinTech Hunting Podcast. We have an absolutely special guest for you today. She's an industry thought leader, a capital markets expert. She specializes in innovative product and pricing solutions. She's a non-agency guru. Please help me welcome back to the show, Eloise Schmitz, co-founder and CEO of LoanNEX. Eloise, it's great to have you back.
Michael, thank you. That was such an amazing introduction. I appreciate it.
Well, it is well deserved. You have a wealth of knowledge and expertise. I know you have been traveling on the conference circuit like I have. We've been at different conferences. Give me some of the updates and observations that you have from some of the conferences you've attended recently.
Well, 2025 is certainly a interesting year for the mortgage industry, certainly for the market in general, but it certainly is for the mortgage industry. And what we're hearing is, the continuation of the same themes from 24, but just deeper and stronger and louder. And that is that you've got to have diversity in your products. You have to understand how to serve a broader market, and that's not just, agency and non-agency or prime jumbo, but it's also second lien. There's a lot of need for a broader set of products in today's market to be competitive, to be attractive to employees, and to be able to serve. The borrowers are looking for a lot of different needs. And in order to serve the whole market, when you don't have the benefit of a really frothy refi market, you really have to be prepared to serve all the products. And that's what we're hearing so much about. So many of the originators are starting to move into this part of the market, and some that have, maybe had a little bit of volume or looking for it to go from 5% to 30%. And I think that's a really important observation of how things are changing.
Well, and I couldn't agree with you more. In the conferences I was at, I heard the same thing. You've got to diversify. You've got to have other product offerings. And part of it is they're trying to find additional revenue streams. And when they make those comments, diversify, it makes it seem like it's so simple. Just offer these other products. So talk to me about the flip side of it, about where are the challenges and why isn't just so easy just to flip a switch and now you have this huge diversified portfolio?
Well, I think that, getting good, strong relationships with your counterparties is one that I know that most people have that well, honed. So, but I'll just say having good relationships with strong partners is the first piece. But after that, you can't necessarily serve these products through the same tools that you've been serving, your agency products. And understanding that and giving your originators the tools they need to be successful isn't just the programs. You have to also have the tools. And so we hear a lot of pain points. The workflows are a little bit work differently on a secondary desk. The discovery, pricing, and eligibility works differently for an LO. And you just really have to understand that to be effective, you have to give originators and your secondary desk the tools to be able to navigate these programs.
Well, and as we were talking about this, you gave a great analogy. So I want to kind of turn that back to you to share that with people, because I think people, as they look at these tools, it's the technology, it's the solutions they're using, and they can't just instantly now have all of these diversified products. So go ahead and share that.
Yeah. So it's in part of my technology frustrations on the browser side, I have had the privilege of having my browser changed from Google to Yahoo without, really my intervention. And I don't always realize it's switched. And so you go do a Google search and you get nothing that makes sense. And I look up and I realize it's because it's on the Yahoo browser and have to switch back to Google. And it's a very, striking analogy to me, because when people are using technology that's not built to find and to search for and to price these programs, it's like going into Yahoo, and it might do a great job for searching some things, but it often is just a little off and it's not giving you really those results. One of the conferences that I was in, I was listening to some large originators present, and they were presenting about, coming into this part of the market, how important it is to get your loan officers comfortable with it, having content available to them. But what they said was, but you have to learn how to trick your pricing engine into showing these products. And it reminded me of this whole Yahoo versus Google example. And I'm thinking, you don't have to trick your pricing engine. You just have to have tools that actually meet the needs of these programs and helps your loan officers know the difference of when they're not seeing the correct results and when they are seeing the correct results. And that is really all about tools. And if you arm them with the right tools, they can be so successful. They don't have to know everything. They have to see it. I've said on previous podcasts with you, if you can't see it, you can't sell it.
That's right.
That works for Yahoo and Google, and it also works for your pricing engine. If you can't see it, you can't, discover what the right option is. You certainly can't advise your borrower on it or price it and lock it, originate it, and close it.
That is so true. And it's unfortunate that people are saying, okay, because of my current technology really doesn't serve what I'm trying to do, let's come up with this half-baked workaround, and then let's hope that there's not mistakes. Let's hope that there's not, things that don't fall through the cracks because they're using a workaround when there's solutions. And now I'm going to give you the full range to kind of tee this up. But there's solutions like LoanNEX that specialize. Yes, you handle all of the standard products, but you guys specialize in non-agency. So talk to me about how you guys have approached it and how you can make it easier. And like you say, if you can see it, now you can sell it. You guys allow lenders to see the programs, the non-agency, so that they can be much more effective.
Well, LoanNEX was originally formed to enable a much more intuitive, accessible platform to sit between private capital and an originating loan officer. If they can have a good tool to navigate, programs that can have any kind of attributes, guideline requirements that are unique to them, and there's no way an originator can know all of those attributes. Right. And so we talk with folks all the time about what their pain points are. And the soft guides are scary because they don't want to get into a lock, move the loan along, and then find out late in the process that there was an acreage limitation, or because it's in a declining market, it has a LTV adjustment, or gift funds for this particular investor require these attributes, and for that buyer, it's another set of attributes. So we put all of that in there. I call it color by numbers. And so it makes it really easy. They just have to go through the process and we tell them what they need to know. But those pain points are really just about making it easy, accessible, and transparent on what it takes to originate one of these loans. That's really the only thing you have to do. And what we're doing now is we're making LoanNEX available. You don't have to change your agency workflows. Those are working well for you. Don't mess with it. Just the option is to add LoanNEX either on a standalone basis or inside your Encompass environment as a non-agency workflow. And it enables your secondary desk to still work the same way they would always work, but it gives the loan officers tools where you want them to be having those tools. And really, really simply, fully margin adjusted, all the controls that you would want in your pricing engine, but it has the right program searches and screening to make it make sense for you. You don't have to trick it.
Well, and I think that's part of the power that you have of, yes, if somebody wants to use you from soup to nuts, they can, and you guys have a very powerful solution for that. But instead of saying you have to rip out your current pricing engine to use us, stop struggling with the non-agency, go to LoanNEX, use LoanNEX, and if your other workflows are working, great. If at another time you want to explore using it holistically, then they can. Super powerful.
It doesn't have to be that hard. It really can be so much easier and make everybody so much more successful. So it really is an exciting time for this market, but people need to realize that adding the tools to work in this part of the market doesn't have to be intimidating either. It's really, really very simple. But as long as people can navigate the programs, they can sell the programs. If you keep those tools away, then it's going to be harder and harder for people to feel successful and confident. Which is a big differentiator, for everybody to be able to sell through these products.
Especially in today's competitive environment, if you have the tools and you can see them and they work for you, you're going to be much more successful. What's next for LoanNEX? What are you guys working on? How are you continuing to add more value to lenders? What are you most excited about?
We're doing a lot of really exciting things and, a lot for that buy-side client as well. And one of the things we're working on right now that I'm particularly excited about is an exception module. And that'll work so that it can all be in platform. So once that exception is granted, we can grant it on a line item basis. So who's ever granting that exception, whether it's the retail originator or the investor who they're counterpartied with, if it's a loan amount adjustment, they can just adjust that loan amount, put the pricing adjustment in there, and then it returns through its lock process. And so it's just changed the eligibility, but marked as an approved exception and keeps it all in process. Right now, everything is offline. Everything is done over, like a manual adjustment, but then you have to sort of track, okay, this is what that exception was for. So if something else needs to be adjusted, you have to sort of go back through that process and do another manual adjustment. So when we talk about, serving this market, we're really listening for the pain points. Somewhere between 30 and 40% of the non-agency market is done through exceptions. And so, serving that workflow and making it much more efficient, I think is going to be a big game changer as well, for both, investors as well as for retail originators.
Well, and I think that's one of the reasons why you continue to grow and you guys are having so much success is you're listening and you're involved with the day-to-day practitioners of what is the best way to do this. How can we reduce friction? How can we make it easier for people? And you guys have just done an incredible job, Eloise. So congratulations on that. If people want to get a hold of you, if they want to find out more of the exciting things that LoanNEX is doing, what's the best way that they can do that?
Well, always, you can just visit the website at loannex.com or, email us at sales@loannex.com. It's really, pretty straightforward. We're always excited to show what LoanNEX can do for people, but also, again, to participate in understanding where your pain points are and talking through a solution that works for you. We've got over 60 buy-side clients on the platform, so that's a lot of content for the non-agency side. And it is really exciting to watch the growth of originators coming into this space and how they're using LoanNEX. And now if they want more content, they instead of go to a lunch and learn, they send them over to LoanNEX. So, get in touch with us. We'll show you how easy it is. Lots of, exciting changes in the market, but the tools make those changes less intimidating.
And you also have a webinar coming up at the end of June. Yes. It's June, 26th?
Yes. And we've also got newsletters that give a lot of interesting market information and updates. So you can go on the website and subscribe to those as well. Or just email us and we'll get you on the list.
I love it. Eloise, you always have a wealth of knowledge and you're always so willing to share, whether it's here on the podcast, whether it's in the newsletters, whether it's on the webinars or at different industry events. You always bring value to these conversations. So thank you again for being a guest on this episode of the FinTech Hunting Podcast.
Thank you.